Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. One of the conversations that I've had prevalently outside of the show has been, hey, these new 8 teams, how they fit culturally, and if they're just going to dominate the Hateful 8 or vice versa. Now, let's be very clear. There are 6 original Big 12 teams here. Like even West Virginia and TCU were not in the league until about a decade ago. So the entire landscape has changed from where it was 15 years prior. And based on what we've seen, based on like Utah and Arizona and how much love they get, will the Hateful 8 be buried by the new blood?
No.
Oh.
No, yeah. But Utah has just as good a chance as anybody to win the conference this year. So
absolutely. That's subjective. Yes.
That's something that people are going to be clipping that for December 10th to throw that back in our face. But yes, I think Utah could well win the league. And then I know that's not a hot take. Arizona is a fascinating one. They fit right into the Big 12 right away. You know why, Drake? Because they're a humongous question mark, which is basically all the whole
and hundreds of $1 million in debt, or was
that too? That works because like Arizona had a terrific year last year with Jed Fish. Mm-hmm. They were terrible for years before that. Man. They were Arizona State. They were both, but they stunk. And I worry about those programs that suck for a decade and then the coach that brought them to the 10 wins is suddenly gone. Like I think that's a legitimate concern. So to dominate the Hateful 8, no, because you look at some of the other ones they've brought in, like Arizona State, bad. Cincinnati, bad. UCF, definitely trending towards just straight up bad. It's not like BYU had a bad year, right? So, there's just too many question marks all the way around. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, because somebody right now, that Cincinnati guy listening or that UCF guy listening is just throwing stuff all over the room. How can he say we're bad? Last year, one of the new 4 teams went to a bowl game, UCF, and they lost to a pretty bad Georgia Tech team. This year, they have reloaded. Had a good transfer class. They've had a good recruiting class as well under Gus Malzahn. I like UCF a lot. The other 3, question marks. I don't know how good BYU is going to be. Who's their quarterback? I don't know how good Cincinnati is going to be. They're probably going to fire their coach. And then Houston has a brand new coach because they fired theirs. But I think it's a little different because these 4 are coming from an established Power 5 conference, one of which was in the Big 12 15 years ago.
Yes, that's true. And the fan that we're talking about is also throwing back at us, well, what about, Baylor or TCU? Or because we don't know what's coming out of there. West Virginia is probably going to be good, but it's it's teetering. Who knows? And so there's plenty of question marks for the Hateful 8 too. But I look at the top of this league and what I would think on today, April 19th, what would be the sum makeup of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league? It's going to be Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. And so I'm already going Hateful 8 themed here. And Kansas State's a bit of a question mark too. I get that. But I already lean more towards Hateful 8. So in order for me to say that the new 8 is going to dominate this, I need like 3 heads on that Mount Rushmore at the end of the season. And I just don't see that happening. Maybe you get a good year out of Arizona and you get 2 up there. But I can't see that turnaround from Arizona State. Quite frankly, I can't even really see it from a school like Colorado, which has plenty of hype around it. But there's still like, I don't know where the 6 or 7 wins are coming from Colorado. And even then, that doesn't get you in the top 3 or 4.
Colorado will suck and blow. I was very excited for Deion Sanders to be here and be good. I wanted this flashy, moxie, 10-win shocking Colorado, and now his son is posting on Instagram, "Hey, yo, hit me up if you want to play for us." That's probably not a good thing.
But no Texas high school football 5 and 6A guys, because they stink. They don't play college football. We don't want them. Shadur does not want them.
No high schoolers. If you played high school football, best not be coming to Colorado.
You better play in a private school, so I know you got that dog in you.
Is there a way? Yeah, Taps, shout out. Yes. Is there a way of the new 8, right, that more than 50% make a bowl game then. Because as you say it,
New age.
Colorado shouldn't. Arizona State won't be predicted to. Cincinnati won't. Houston won't. I think BYU's over-under on wins and losses is 5.5, so they're not up there. I obviously foresee UCF having a pretty good year, Arizona and Utah, but the other 5 are pretty much all projected to not make it past the final game of the regular season.
I could see 4 out of the 8. Because if I'm looking at Utah, definitely. Arizona, I think, should still. Like, I don't know if they'll win the league or anything, but they should be a 7 or 8 win team based on what they did last year and the guys they have coming back. And so then to kind of go through the rest, if I can get 2 6-win teams out of UCF and BYU, then I think that's possible. Because you also got to remember too, they're all playing each other. So I could see some combination of BYU, UCF, and I don't know, maybe the Willie Fritz thing really hits in year 1 at Houston and you get a third, like some combination, 2 out of the other 4, 6, whatever teams I think could make it. So I could see half of them getting in, mainly because there's enough question marks in the Hateful 8 as well.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, like I don't know. I cannot confirm to you that TCU will make a bowl game.
Right, because it's it sounds like I'm sitting here like, oh, Arizona State's going to stink, and we don't know about BYU and Houston, and we don't. But by the point I made earlier, we also don't know about Baylor, and it's probably not a good thing. We don't know about TCU. I think Kansas State is still a question mark. I lean towards them being good because I really like the coach and the options. But like, or West Virginia is another example of that. I lean towards them being good, but it wouldn't surprise me if it kind of goes haywire. They get a couple injuries and they're 5-7. Like that's totally possible. So to just sit here and feel like I'm bashing the new 8 while it's not great, the Hateful 8 isn't in a great spot.
Right. While we're trusting Josh Hoover to carry us to victory.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
And nothing bad on Josh Hoover. It's still Josh Hoover. He is not as bad as early Max Duggan, who was really, really bad. But he hasn't proved himself in the Big 12 yet, so we can't hang our hat on that guy, especially when the conference is loaded with quarterbacks. Speaking of quarterbacks, QB battles happening in Waco and Provo and elsewhere, but those two seem to be the bigger ones of the offseason here on Locked On Big 12. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Where I Make Money, and that is FanDuel. I go and I tell FanDuel I think the Texas Rangers are going to win today. And FanDuel says, want to bet? And I say, absolutely. And I put X amount of dollars, $100 million on it. And if they win, I win $100 million. If they lose, well, I never lose. It's playoff time in the NBA, the NHL, and baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. There's an app for it. What are you waiting for? FanDuel.com/locked-on to make your first bet an automatic win. Get that $150 win or lose. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Go to FanDuel.com/locked-on and do it today.